Hi, everybody. My name is Matt Baker. I am with DS Benefits Group here in Medina, Ohio, and we are a human capital firm that works with clients in the areas of employee benefits, organizational development, and HR administrative services, and pride ourselves in being a great community partner and advocate for all of our clients and the businesses in the region. And today we understand everything that's going on with the coronavirus and the work environment. We wanted to bring on one of our trusted business advisors that is a great partner of ours. And I have Jon Hyman from Meyers with me today. And we want to discuss some of the issues that our businesses are facing as they navigate this coronavirus pandemic. So Jon, thank you for being with us today. And I'm just going to kind of start off with asking, what is the Families First Coronavirus Response Act and who does it cover?
Hi, good morning. Thanks, Matt. Thanks for having me. I'm happy to come on and share the expertise I've quickly developed in the last week or so now as I'm calling myself a coronavirus attorney, unfortunately. The Coronavirus Families First Response Act was the first economic stimulus measure that Congress passed midweek last week. President Trump signed it last Wednesday. It takes effect April 2nd. And it is going to require all covered businesses, and we'll talk about what that means in a second. Most employees, both paid family leave and paid sick leave for certain, and in some cases, most coronavirus-related absences. From a coverage standpoint, we're talking about employers that are under 500 employees. Congress made the policy choice that large employers, those with 500 or more employees, are not covered. And for paid family leave, and again, we'll talk in a second about what this means, paid family leave, it applies to any employees that have worked for a company for 30 days or more. For paid sick leave, it applies to all employees of a company, even on day one of employment.
Great. And so I think you're kind of getting in the area of what does it provide for those businesses. Are there any other things that you need to add to that?
Yeah, so it provides for two different families of paid leave, or two different avenues of paid leave. Bucket one, it amends the Family Medical Leave Act to add a new form of available FMLA for employees. And again, traditionally FMLA requires you to work for a business for a year and at least 1,250 hours in the preceding year. Now it covers anyone who's worked for a business 500 employees or smaller for 30 days or more. It amends the FMLA to essentially provide for FMLA leave for any employee for childcare related coronavirus absences. So if your school is closed, if a child's school is closed, or they've lost their child care provider and you are unable to work or telework as a result, you get 12 weeks of FMLA. The first 2 weeks are unpaid. The remaining 10 weeks are paid at 2/3 of the employee's regular rate of pay, capped at $200 per day per employee, or $10,000 in the aggregate. The second bucket is paid family or paid sick leave, which really applies to any coronavirus-related absence. For an employee's own absence related to their own illness, quarantine, or isolation, the employee gets 80 hours of paid sick leave, paid at 100% of their regular rate of pay, capped at $511 per day per employee. I don't know why they picked that number, but $511 per day per employee, or $5,110 in the aggregate. For coronavirus-related absences related to the care of a family member who has coronavirus or is seeking treatment for coronavirus or is quarantined or under isolation, or for the care of a child who is not able to go to school or has lost their child care, also up to 80 hours of paid sick leave, capped at $200 a day, or $2,000 in the aggregate per employee.
Right. And how are small employers supposed to pay for this?
Yeah, so the federal government has put a dollar for dollar tax credit in place for businesses. So businesses are able to claim a tax credit against their payroll tax contributions on their quarterly tax returns. It's an automatic credit. So you just claim that money as a credit on, as you're filing your payroll taxes on a quarterly basis. And the dollars that you're putting in, you're able to claim as a payroll tax credit for those payroll taxes that you otherwise would have paid for employees. So it's funded by this payroll tax credit. That tax credit is going to be slightly deferred in that you're claiming it against your next quarterly tax payment, but that's where the money's going to come from. Separately, there are two exemptions in place in the statute. One is for healthcare workers and emergency responders. Employers of emergency or healthcare workers or emergency responders can designate those employees as exempt from coverage. So those employees would be exempt. Secondly, there's a provision for the smallest of employers under 50 employees. We're waiting on regulations from the Department of Labor because that is not automatic under the statute. For the smallest of employers, less than 50 employees, they're going to have to apply for an exemption showing that the imposition or the provision of this paid leave would create serious economic injury. We don't know yet what that's going to look like, but that's coming down the pike, hopefully the next week or two when the DOL publishes their regulations.
Great, thanks, Sean. And do employees out of work because of the Ohio stay-at-home order qualify for paid leave?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It's one that I've been asked a lot in the last 48 hours since Governor DeWine announced the ODH's stay-at-home order. The current thinking is that if an employee's business is shut down, is closed as a result of the stay-at-home order, that employee would not qualify for paid family or paid sick leave. I will say it's not an abundantly clear answer. There is some ambiguity in the statute, but as the statute is currently written, it covers an employee who is paid sick leave covers an employee who is either under quarantine or under an isolation order. My read of the statute in conjunction with the stay-at-home order is that the stay-at-home order is not a state quarantine or isolation order, because while it does close non-essential businesses, we're not required to be quarantined or isolated. We can leave our homes to go grocery shopping. We can leave our homes to pick up takeout from restaurants. We can leave our homes to walk the dog. Non-essential businesses can have certain employees come in for certain functions they need to keep the business operational, such as making sure employees can work from home or maintaining inventory or providing security. Essential businesses are still open, business as usual if they want to be. And so I don't read the stay-at-home order as a quarantine or isolation order. And so as a result, I don't believe that those employees or employees who are not working as a result of that order would qualify for paid sick leave.
Great, thanks, Sean. And one last question, is kind of a two-part question here. What about furloughed employees? And then also, do they qualify for paid leave while on furlough?
Yeah, so a furlough, as opposed to a layoff is a permanent job loss for an economic reason. A furlough is more of a temporary job loss, again, caused by an economic situation, but it's temporary in nature. Employees who are furloughed are typically still considered employees. They're on payroll. They're just not getting paid in the short term. And so, again, not a clear answer in the statute as to whether furloughed employees would qualify for the paid leave made available by this act. But as I read the statute and my current thinking on the issue, and we're hoping that the DOL regulations give us some good clarity on this, but because the pay, while furloughed employees are still technically employees and would therefore technically qualify, the paid leave that the act provides is tied to an employee's regular rate of pay. and a furloughed employee's regular rate of pay is 0. So as a result, while technically they might qualify, there's no paid leave to trigger because there is no regular rate of pay against which they can claim this paid leave. I think separately, right now the unemployment system is wide open. Furloughed employees are eligible to apply for and can collect unemployment. When they're applying for and collecting unemployment, they're certifying that they're not working. And so I think that would also weigh against these employees being eligible for this paid sick leave. And also it frankly helps alleviate some of the sting here because these furloughed workers, while they're not getting paid by their company, can go and apply for and collect unemployment benefits from the state.
Great. Well, John, I appreciate that. That kind of goes into our model here of 5 quick questions. I know these were high-level answers. Really appreciate your knowledge and guidance. Anything you want to add before we end the conversation today?
These are highly, quickly evolving issues. They're changing daily, if not hourly. I have rebranded my legal blog as the Coronavirus Law blog. You can go to coronaviruslaw.blog.blog. I updates typically published Monday through Friday by 8 a.m. And I'm giving summaries of the latest legal developments. You can always certainly contact Matt or anyone else at DS Benefits or myself at Meyers Roman, and my contact information is on that blog for any issues you have related to what's going on in the current crisis insofar as managing your employees.
Great. Well, thank you, John. I really appreciate your time today. I know you're working with a lot of clients, managing them through this process. So again, I appreciate everybody who jumps on and listens to this information and finds value in it. Please, again, reach out to myself at DS Benefits Group or Jon Hyman at Meyers Roman or any of the staff in our offices. We are all working remote. We are here to help not just our clients, but any employer here in the community. So thank you again so much. Really appreciate it. And please leave questions, comments as you read this, and we will try to address those as soon as we can. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe, everybody.